your stomach acid could dissolve a nail. Right now, sitting inside your gut, is a corrosive liquid with a pH between 1 and 2.5. That is the same acidity as a vulture's digestive system. The same as an animal engineered by evolution specifically to consume rotting, bacteria-laden carrion without dying. You are walking around in a modern office, in a climate-controlled building, eating a breakfast that took 4 minutes to prepare, and inside you is the digestive artillery of a scavenger. That is not a coincidence. That is a memory. A biological memory written in acid, preserved in your gut lining, carried forward from a chapter of the human story so brutal and so long that we have almost completely erased it from our cultural imagination. Before fire, before cooking, before any heat was ever applied to anything your ancestors put in their mouths, there was a version of you that ate the world raw. And what that version ate and how it survived and what it cost is the story your body has been trying to tell you your entire life. Let's go back, not to the campfire, to before the campfire, to the African savanna between 2 and 3 million years ago, before the dramatic brain expansion that defines our lineage, to a creature called Australopithecus, small, bipedal, brain roughly the size of a large orange, and hungry, permanently, existentially hungry. The menu had no fire in it. Fruits when available, tubers dug from cracked, sun-baked soil, leaves, seeds, insects crushed between fingers and eaten immediately, and meat, but not the kind you are imagining. Not a hunted kill, not a controlled harvest, a carcass, something a lion or a leopard had already opened, had already fed on, had already left in the heat. Your ancestor arrived at that scene not as a predator, as a thief, competing with hyenas and vultures for whatever remained, the scraps of flesh still clinging to bone, and beneath the bone, the dense, fat-rich core that no other scavenger had the tools to reach. Marrow. Cut marks fossilized into 2-5 million year old animal bones. Tell us the story with brutal clarity. The marks were not random. They were strategic, deliberate. Made not to cut muscle, most of it was already gone, but to crack the bone open and access the lipid-dense tissue inside. Marrow contains up to 50% fat by weight. It requires no cooking. It is bioavailable raw. And in a world without fire, without any reliable source of concentrated calories, it was neurological fuel. Here is what that means. Your ancestors were not eating the body of the animal. They were eating what was left after the predators were done with the body. They were the last ones to the carcass. And they were cracking open bones for brain and marrow because those were the only parts that remained. Sit with that. The organ you are using right now to process this sentence, 86 billion neurons firing in sequences of electrochemical precision, was built, in part, on calories extracted from split bones in the African heat. The brain that writes poetry, that proves theorems, that falls in love in the middle of an ordinary Tuesday. It began on scraps. But marrow alone does not explain survival. The daily food source was plant material, and here is where the raw food reality becomes genuinely merciless. A raw sweet potato delivers roughly 38 calories per 100 grams. Cooked, the same potato delivers nearly 90. Without fire, your ancestor had to eat twice the volume of plant material to extract the same energy, which meant twice the foraging time, twice the chewing. A digestive system scaled to handle an enormous, continuous throughput of low-calorie raw fiber. This is why the gut shrinks in the fossil record. Harvard primatologist Richard Wrangham spent decades building the case that the adoption of cooking was not a cultural luxury. It was a metabolic event that redirected energy from maintaining massive digestive infrastructure toward the growth of the most expensive organ in the animal kingdom. The brain grew because the gut shrank. The gut shrank because fire arrived. But Wrangham's hypothesis has a wound in it, and the wound is this. The oldest confirmed evidence of controlled fire dates to approximately 1 million years ago. The dramatic expansion of the Homo erectus brain begins in the fossil record nearly 800,000 years before that. 800,000 years. That is the gap. The chasm between the brain that supposedly required cooking to grow and the fire that supposedly enabled cooking to happen. And that gap has not been closed. It sits at the center of the most important dietary debate in human history, open and unresolved. So what were they eating for those 800,000 years? Stone tools. Not for hunting, for processing, slicing, pounding. Physically rupturing the mechanical structure of raw food before consumption in ways that mimicked some of the digestive effects of cooking without any heat at all. A pre-fire food technology. Crude. Calorie inefficient by later standards. But perhaps just enough to begin the neurological cascade that would eventually produce you. The second answer lives in your stomach acid. Research comparing gastric acidity across dozens of mammal species found something that should genuinely unsettle you. Human stomach acid is not in the range of omnivores. It sits firmly in the range of dedicated scavengers, animals whose survival depends on consuming protein that has already begun to decompose, already colonized by bacteria, already metabolically active with decay. Your body did not develop that acidity by accident. It developed it because your ancestors were eating old meat, systematically, repeatedly. For long enough, that natural selection rewired the human stomach into a biological decontamination chamber. Before fire, your gut was built for a world where the protein that fueled your growing brain was a bacterial battleground before it ever reached your mouth. And right here is where it gets darkest. Because the other animals at that carcass were not just competing for food. The Taung child, a 8 million year old Australopithecus skull, recovered from South Africa, bears puncture marks on its eye sockets consistent with the talons of a large predatory eagle. This was not an ancient murder. This was feeding. The same intelligence that cracked open bone for marrow was simultaneously being applied by other species to identify and consume the ones doing the cracking. You did not descend from apex predators. You descended from animals that were prey. That terror, that primal awareness of being watched, being hunted, being small in a world full of things that want to eat you is not irrational. It is the oldest rational response your lineage ever encoded. The darkness you feel at the edge of a forest, the unease in open spaces, the way your body tightens when something moves behind you that you cannot see. That is not anxiety. That is the operating system of a survivor. And then something changed. Fire arrived, and with it, a cascade so total it rewired not just the human body but the human day. Because cooking does not only change the chemistry of food, it changes time. A chimpanzee spends between 6 and 8 hours a day just chewing. Cooking collapses that time completely. The hours that fire liberated from chewing became the hours available for everything else. For talking, for planning. For the slow, non-urgent, creative work that only an animal with a metabolic surplus can afford. The campfire that cooked the meat was the same fire around which language deepened and memory was shared and the first stories were told in the dark. You did not evolve beside fire. You were built by it. And, before the fire, something stranger and harder and more visceral than any mythology has captured. A small, acid-stomached primate, cracking open old bones in the African heat, eating the margins of a predator's kill, surviving on raw fat and borrowed time. That is where you come from. Not from the campfire, from what came before it, from the long, silent, dangerous years when your ancestors stayed alive through sheer biological stubbornness and left you, as their only inheritance, the most expensive brain on earth. You didn't earn it. You inherited it. From the ones who survived the dark before the fire,